Hi everyone, Sajid Amit here, and welcome to my review of the Aroma Air, which is a Bluetooth only DAC amp. And honestly, so the TLDR of this review is that this is an endgame Bluetooth DAC amp, which can sound like an oxymoronic sentence, endgame Bluetooth DAC amp, because Bluetooth is associated with lossy and, of course, not a very pleasurable experience in audio. But Bluetooth is getting better and better, of course, as some of you will know. And this Bluetooth DAC amp is phenomenal. It's just tremendous. It's amazing. It sounds wonderful. It sounds neutral yet natural. It pairs exceedingly well with every IM that I've tried it with, in particular the Aroma Audio Jewels, and as well as the Noble and the Odins and the Modu Type 512 that I have here. So in this review, I will talk about its specs. I talk about its pros and cons, and then talk about its sound and draw sort of comparisons with other audio devices that I drive stuff with, namely the Kind RU7, Kind's latest dongle, the FIO BTR7, which is my erstwhile favorite Bluetooth device, because this is my favorite, and the Kind sort of mother sort of the DAP, the Kind N8 Mark IIs, and so that's basically what I'm going to do. Okay, without further ado, to jump right in and talk about specs first. This has an ESS Sabre 908 Q2M, which is not a very new chip, which doesn't matter. And if you think that an ESS chip is destined to sound bright, you are wrong, because this does not sound bright. It has a powerful battery, 340 milliampere hours, which can support 8 hours of continuous music playback. Takes about 2 hours to charge, which is perhaps on the slightly higher side given the size of this, but that's fine. I can live with that. It supports a variety of formats, including SBC, AAC, aptX, aptX LL, aptX HD, and LDAC. So total harmonic distortion is pretty low. It's about 0.0017% on balanced, and the same on single-ended. Its resolution is about 81 decibels. Signal to noise ratio is 123 dB, which is decent. Its size is pretty evident. It's pretty, small and diminutive, as can be noticed. It's sort of fitting nicely on the palm of my hand. It's very light. It's 190 grams. And its output power might be of interest to some of you. It was of interest to me. This can drive headphones, guys, but I do prefer it with IEMs. Off the balanced, as you can see, it has balanced and single-ended. Off the balanced, at 300 ohms, you get the maximum output power. You get 400 milliwatts of 300 ohms, which is pretty phenomenal if you have dynamic drivers like the HD650, 600, and the HD800S. This will drive ZMF headphones as well. So if you have high impedance headphones, this is a champion. Around 100 ohms, the power output goes down to 130 milliwatts from 400, which is the output power, like I said, for 300 ohms. At 32 ohms, it goes down even further to 50 milliwatts, which is fine for all IMs. So this is a device that I would recommend for IMs, and if you have high impedance dynamic drivers. I would not recommend this for planars. Okay, now to talk about its pros and cons very quickly. I love this build. It's pretty ergonomic. It fits nicely in the palm of a hand. It's very light. It's pocketable. I've used this in the gym. It doesn't weigh down my pants or what have you. I'll talk about sound in a bit, but the device intelligently detects the impedance and sensitivity and provides power accordingly. It does have a swappable battery. The battery that Aroma is using is either Panasonic NCR18650B or a Sanyo NCR18650GA battery, which are among the flagship 18650 batteries. It also has a swappable op-amp system, and the op-amps can drastically change the sound. For instance, some users like the Burson V5i op-amp, which can give you a more of a lush, warm sound, unlike the reference neutral yet natural sound which this has in a stock form. Other pros include that it's got very well executed volume adjustments. So these are the volume buttons, if you can see them right here and here. This increases the volume, this decreases the volume. This is the power button. Wonderful to use. It supports all modern Bluetooth codecs. Now, in terms of nitpicks, right, it does not have a play pause button. So you do playing and pausing with your iPhone or your phone, your Android phone, whatever, which is fine by me. There's no USB audio. The USB output here is just for charging, which is fine by me. The Bluetooth range is not massive. Like, you will be advised to stay within 10 feet of the device. That's what I found, and I think that's fine because my use case for this is not where I just put it and I travel or walk around. I usually have this in my pocket when I go for a walk on the treadmill or in the park, what have you. And there's a slight pop when you turn the device on if your IM is plugged in, if you can consider that a sort of a con, but it's not a major con. So no major cons to speak of, other than the fact that this is a very minimalist feature set. But I do understand that the Aroma Audio guys are going for minimalism here, which is fine, which I dig. I love the minimalist philosophy here. To talk about sound, guys, that's basically where this DAC amp, Bluetooth DAC amp, is king. It is royalty in terms of its sound because, and I'll tell you why, there are very few devices, if you watch this channel, where I've not found something about the sound profile that I find to be colored. I don't find things neutral very easily. Like, I have, in the early days of my hobby, owned a variety of topping products, right? And topping is considered to be the benchmark for neutral by a lot of mainstream reviewer guys. Now, I've never found topping to be appetizing. I've always thought that the whole genre of neutral, well-measuring DAC amps have this sort of, acerbic digital glare to the treble. I've found that they have this lifeless, soulless mids. The mid-range never resonated with me. I found that the bass, even the bass for a lot of these topping products, just leaves me wanting because there's some grain in the bass, lack of tightness sometimes, or lack of decay that just robs the bass of the analog character from these topping devices. This is the first device that I can proudly say is neutral yet natural. Like, one would think that neutral would always sound natural, but I don't honestly think that's the case with a lot of DAC amps. This is one where I've not found any treble glare, any sort of deficiencies in bass or mid-range. It is supremely natural sounding, guys. Now, I think it's better that I talk about this in relation to how this pairs with different IMs and also draw sort of comparisons to other devices. First of all, talk about IMs it pairs well with. Surprise, surprise, Aroma's flagship, the Jewel, which is one of my favorite IMs, priced at $5,200, is amazing, of the Aroma Audio Air. The Jewel sounds exactly like it should. It doesn't sound bright, it doesn't sound warm, it sounds musical, it sounds well extended in bass and in treble. It does have a massive sound stage, a very analog sort of faithful reproduction of music, which this upholds. What I do want to mention is that the soundstage of the Aroma Air is so wide and deep, and also has very sort of distinct imaging that I feel like is not achievable on a device this size. Honestly, like, I don't know how they do this, because this device reminds me of my Aslan Current SP2000T, which was my DAP for the longest time, and I want to say that this performs almost at the same level as that DAP. Now, what I'm getting at is, guys, if you are looking to buy an entry-level or mid-level DAP and you like the portable use case, do give this a shot, guys, because you might find that for technical performance, this is within biting distance of a lot of entry to mid-level DAPs. So the Aroma house tuning is natural and yet neutral, which is exemplified by the flagship IM that they have. And this holds true for all the other IMs that I have here. I've tried it with the Noble Audio Sultan, which I like to use in the gym. The Noble Audio Sultan, interestingly, like with a lot of sources, can sound very bassy, very impactful. Like, the impact is sort of exaggerated on certain sources because it does have a pretty nice bass shelf. And on different sources, the treble can be a bit bothersome because it does have some energy in lower to mid treble. Some of my friends have found this to be on the brighter side. Now, what's interesting is that on the Aroma Audio Jewel, you neither get that excessive bass impact, and nor do you get this treble brightness from the Noble Audio Sultans. You just get what's there in the frequency response. You just get what's there in this IM, and you get a very faithful reproduction of what this IM is supposed to sound like. So you get a bass impact that I think is pretty in line with what you expect from the Sultans. It's there, it's present, it's not overbearing, and you also get treble incisiveness without any sharpness. So I really dig what it does in sort of giving you this very beautifully neutral yet natural sound, guys. Now, I've also tried one of my favorite IMs, one of my top two, as a matter of fact, that I love carrying in my Elitech case, the Empire Ears Odins. Odins are very interesting because they are source picky, and on the wrong source they can be fatiguing, they can be mercilessly revealing. The upper mids are famous and infamous. I mean, depending on the source pairing, this upper mids can be fatiguing. The bass is lovely and tight and controlled. Wonderful pairing with the air. With the air, the bass is extended, it's sharp, it's snappy, it's tight, it's controlled. The mid-range, upper mid forwardness is there, but it doesn't bother you guys. This handles Odin upper mids like a champion, and it's very well extended. And Odin is also very well regarded for its imaging because it does have very crystal clear imaging, and there's songs where there are two vocalists, like a male and a female, and the distance the Odin carves out between the vocalists is just the stuff of legends, guys. And the air does handle that very well, and I get a lot of pleasure from playing the Odins with the Aroma Audio Air, which for me is sort of like a litmus test for a device, for a DAC amp, because this does not pair well with a lot of sources. I still keep it around because I like it so much. Last but not the least, I tried a slightly lower priced a substantially lower priced IM, the Madhu, which doesn't sound like it's substantially lower priced because it does impress, especially for bass, and it does impress more than I think any other IM on this table when it comes to bass, especially for impact, extension, texture. Like, this guy is just the king of bass, guys. And I know I've been promising a review for this, which will come soon. A review will come soon. Just love this aesthetics, the sapphire glass and all that. The air does do justice very well to the Madhu Type 512 because you get that excessive sort of bass, warmth, impact, extension that you expect from the Madhu Type 512. So wonderful pairing once again. The bottom line is it's a very safe device that it can drive everything well with great tonality and impressive technical performance for the price. This does not sound like it's $600, guys. When you take into account the fact that this is $600 and Bluetooth, this will surprise you in terms of how well it performed with everything. Now, last but not the least, in terms of comparisons, this easily destroys the FIO BTR7. Once you hear the Aroma Audio Air, the BTR7 treble will sound like it's got glare, it's got grain. The bass impact is impressive still on the BTR7. But what does happen is you get a tighter bass with the Aroma Audio Air. You get a better sense of mid bass, so it's slightly warmer in that sense. And overall, it's better and more analog bass quality. Mid range is easily, something that I would give to the Aroma Audio Air because it just sounds more natural. This sounds a bit, digital in the mid range and treble. So this is a better device, hands down. To talk about the Kine RU7, which I reviewed on this channel, it's a champion of a dongle, possibly the best dongle out there right now for the money. This is a better device as you'd expect because this has a deeper stage, a greater sense of resolution, and overall perhaps even a wider stage, although this does stage very wide for a dongle. So this, of course, is, it's not surprising that this would be better than a dongle like the Kine RU7, although, like I said, this is the king of dongles right now. And last but not the least, the Kine N8 Mark II, which is an awesome DAP. It's not a neutral sounding DAP. To me, it's slightly on the brighter side, especially on the P Plus Class AB mode. It can be made to sound less bright and more neutral using the Tube mode and the Class A mode. It never gets overly warm, I think. I would say it's neutral to neutral bright. This is something that I would honestly prefer for tonality over the Kine 8 Mark II and 8 Mark II because this works with a greater range of IEMs. Now, you could wonder why I have this around if this does so well. I have this around because it does pair really well with certain IEMs that I have, and I'm looking for those synergistic moments, guys, and those sorts of pairings that really enhance my experience of audio because I do have my favorite DAP, the Sony W1ZM2, which does work well for me. So this I have around because it offers a different signature, a different flavor to my stable. So, but if you had to have one device that you don't want to spend a lot of money for, and if you're going for an accurate yet natural tonality, this is perhaps better tuned even. Of course, N8 Mark II has better technical performance. So hands down, you get more stage depth, more layering, more resolution even than the Aroma Air. But it's not like a night and day difference. It's not like it's 50% more resolving, although this is $600 and this is 5 times the price. So guys, if you don't want to spend for a flagship DAP, honestly, I would recommend you give the Aroma Audio Air a chance because it will surprise you. This is better than a lot of entry to mid-level DAPs, and for that I give this my highest recommendation. Thank you for watching this, guys. I would love to talk more about this. I've dropped impressions on this on the HeadFi Facebook threads and the HeadFi threads. If you have further questions, do feel free to engage me in the comment section of this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye-bye.